long last, we've reached the high-definition era of the Harry Potter games. We're starting things off with Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which released in the summer of 2007. It was released for the PC, the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, the PSP, the Nintendo DS, the PlayStation 2, Wii, and Game Boy Advance. Order of the Phoenix thankfully returns to the sandbox style of gameplay of Chamber and Prisoner. The game also introduces a new spellcasting system that replaces the overly simplistic method of the last game. With this return to form, Phoenix has a pretty good chance of starting the HD era of Potter games off on the right path. Well, we're going to find out if it does as we take a look at the Xbox 360 version. Right off the bat, let's get the obvious out of the way in regards to the story. Order of the Phoenix is not the best Potter film in which to base a game on. There's just not enough playable moments for EA to build a game around. Though thankfully EA has chose to base the majority of the game around Harry, Ron, and Hermione dealing with Dolores Umbridge and forming Dumbledore's army. Though as usual, the game has its list of questionable omissions. But fans will enjoy some of the dialogue between Harry, Ron, and Hermione as they walk around, since most of it comes straight from the novel. The ending is once again truly disappointing, as rather than try to extend the length of the game by having Harry and his friends search around the Department of Mysteries, it's all just one long cutscene with no player interaction. I find it kind of ironic in a game about Harry and friends trying to learn spells to fend off Death Eaters, who actually don't fight any in the entire game. The game is essentially divided up into two sections. The first section has you recruiting 28 members of the DA, and the second section has you teaming up with the DA members to cause trouble for Umbridge. There's a lot of freedom to this method, as after the first few tutorial missions you're left to explore all of Hogwarts to find the DA members. Finding your way around Hogwarts is done by using the Marauder's map, which leads you to your destination by having you follow a set of footprints that appear on the floor. Though this method can tend to cause issues, as the footprints can be hard to see on certain floors, and the footprints generally have you staring at the floor rather than the environments you're walking through. Though don't get too excited about finding the DA members too quickly, as most of them will just send you on very tedious fetch quests. You'll have to go around Hogwarts looking for plants, other students, and the occasional random object. And this can lead to the first few hours of the game feeling like they drag on for far too long. Things tend to be dragged out even longer during two particular quests the game sends you on. One is when Dean Thomas asks you to find 5 talking gargoyle statues around Hogwarts, with no indication as to where they might be. There is no way to locate them on the map or even receive hints as to where they are. The game just hopes you'll stumble into them as you venture around the school. This can lead you to walk aimlessly around Hogwarts for long stretches of time. But the worst quest the game sends you on involves the Patil twins. They'll ask Harry to pour a potion into several red speakers around Hogwarts. It's not that bad until you learn you have to do it 6 more times. What's even worse is that you break each speaker the exact same way, piling 2 benches on top of each other and then climbing up to pour the potion. The quest is made even more annoying by the fact that if you happen to stumble across one of the speakers but the Patil twins are not there, the game will not let you interact with the speaker. Most quests in the game barely require you to use spells, which is a big disappointment, as spellcasting now uses a pretty innovative new system. All spells are now controlled by using the left analog stick, and they're performed by moving the analog stick in different directions. There's no classes in which to learn spells this time, as now Harry will teach new spells to the other members of Dumbledore's army. The spells this time are Accio, which summons objects, Depulso, which can push objects back, Reparo can fix broken things, Wingardium Leviosa levitates objects, Incendio can light things on fire, and Reducto explodes things. These spells are used while exploring around Hogwarts, as apparently Mr. Filch took the summer off as Hogwarts is a complete mess, complete with broken portraits, unlit torches, damaged suits of armor, and I'm not even joking, puddles of water. Yes, you're playing a game as Harry Potter, and you're essentially the Hogwarts janitor. But all kidding aside, fixing things around Hogwarts is enjoyable as you get to explore every room in order to see what you can and can't interact with. Fixing objects around the school will reward you with discovery points. These points can make your spells more powerful and will unlock bonus content videos for you to watch. Though as usual, the game is not really that difficult, even with 3 levels of difficulty to choose from this time around. And also, it's hard to tell that your spells have gotten any more powerful, so more powerful spells don't really affect gameplay. There are also several spells that are only used in duels. These spells are Expelliarmus, Stupefy, Protego, Petrificus Totalis, Rictusempra, and Levi Corpus. Most of these spells function the same way in duels with little differences between them. Only Petrificus Totalis and Levi Corpus will perform different actions on characters. The rest all have the same effect despite the different spell being used. Dueling overall is a bit of a mess. It can be fun for a while to fire spells at Slytherins, but with no health bars for you or your enemies, there's no way of knowing whether you're winning or losing a duel. This tends to make duels feel like they drag on, as spells will fly aimlessly all over the place. Enemies will fall to the ground after being hit, but they'll do so multiple times, only adding to the confusion as to whether you're making any real progress. The game also tries to implement Harry's occlumency lessons, but it just would have been better if these weren't included. All it has you doing is flicking the analog sticks in various directions, and it gets repetitive and annoying after a while since you have to do it multiple times. The game also lets you play as Fred and George, Sirius, and Dumbledore for a short period of time, though there's not much to say about this since you have control over them for mere minutes, and there's really nothing special about what the game has you doing with them. There are a few side quests to engage in which can pull you away from the main quest. You can hunt for passwords to open up portraits, which create shortcuts around Hogwarts, play wizard's chess, gobstones, and exploding snap. These little mini-games are fun diversions for a while and should provide some slight enjoyment, even if there's little reward for completing them. The presentation is obviously a huge step up from the prior games thanks to the power of the next-gen systems. Hogwarts is finally based off of the Hogwarts from the films, and it can be quite thrilling to find locations in the game that you've seen on the big screen. Character models are a bit of a mixed bag. Some look decent while others have some unnatural facial features, but it's a bit expected from an early next-gen title. Voice acting fares a bit better across the board as talent from the film actually voices their respected characters. Rupert Grint, Oliver and James Phelps, Ivana Lynch, and Bonnie Wright, among several others, do a great job of voicing their virtual counterparts, though some voiceover talent like Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson are strangely missing in action. Overall, Order of the Phoenix is a step up from Goblet of Fire. It's a return to form and a good start to the HD era of Potter games. The main quest of the game might make you feel like you're playing Harry Potter in the Chore Simulator, but the open-world sandbox makes up for some of its shortcomings. The new spell system is also more engaging, and it would have been a little bit more interesting if the spells were used for more than just fixing things around Hogwarts. So, can EA make improvements to the next Potter title, or is Order of the Phoenix the final ray of hope this series has? Find out when we look at Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.